All right, let's send it back out to Dollywood right now with Fred and Olivia out there. So exciting. Good morning, you two. Or just Fred, I'm sorry. Good morning, Fred.
Well, good morning. It's just me for right now, exactly, Stephen. But of course, we are in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, right here in the Great Smoky Mountains. You know, the city of Pigeon Forge only officially became a city in 1961. And Stephen, you got a chance to find out more about the history.
All about it, Fred. There's an old mill I'm sure you're familiar with that tells all the stories of Pigeon Forge and a big reason why the city is what it is. Take a look.
So the origins of Pigeon Forge started right here in this building.
That building, of course, is the old mill we all know today, built in 1830.
Prior to that, there was an iron forge right next door that was built in 1817, and it was a father and son team, Isaac Love and his son William, that built this area up. In 1842, they decided it's time to establish a town, and the first post office was set up right here in the mill, and he got to help name the town. So he named it partly for the iron forge that his father had started and the pigeons that would roost in the trees here along the river.
Pigeon Forge looked a lot different in those days. It was basically the mill and farms.
Back then it was just a means to an end. So the local farmers would grow their grains, they'd bring them in to be ground, and the miller would get his payment by taking the miller's share. So it was typically usually about 25% of the finished product. And then they could each use it for their needs. So whether they're going to feed their family, they're going to barter with it, trade out with other makers in the area.
The old mill has always been the hub of the town. You can tell just by looking at their front door.
This was the location that everybody came to. So our door on the mill, you'll see, has nails and tacks and holes left in the door. And it's the original door to 1830. That's where they would post the news. Whatever was happening in the area was posted on the door. And because the post office was here, we assume maybe the most wanted was posted on the door.
The mill served many purposes, and when the owner sold it around 1849, the second owner was a Unionist and helped the North during the Civil War.
During the Civil War, there was secret looms set up on the second floor, and they made material and uniforms for Union soldiers that were encamped in Gatlinburg. And the third floor was a makeshift hospital.
From the 1920s to 1932, the mill even provided electricity for the town.
They only produced electricity while the miller was running. So he'd fire it up first thing in the morning. You could maybe get up and pull that chain on that single light bulb you had hanging out of the ceiling, and you had electricity for the day. But his day was done usually by 2 or 3 in the afternoon. So he would turn the turbine on and off. Lights in town would flicker, and they knew it was time to get out the oil lamps and fire up the cook stoves.
In the 50s, Pigeon Forge started to grow around the mill. More people were traveling through to see the national park. Then in comes the parkway, and eventually the businesses.
Businesses like the pottery started, and then more businesses started opening up on this new parkway, which was all farmland. So farmers started selling off their land to help support this.
Tourism grew, and businesses continued to pop up, but the old mill stayed the center of Pigeon Forge.
We have families that come here generations deep, that their grandparents brought them and now they're bringing their grandkids. I mean, literally, it's amazing to hear those stories.
You can read more about Pigeon Forge's history over on our website, WSPA.com. And Fred, it was really interesting to see what it was before, just an empty parkway with nothing around it. A lot different now.
And it's something now. We were in that old mill district yesterday. It's a great spot if you're going to spend some time up here. Just all kinds of places to eat and shop and have a great time. Stephen, what a turnaround here in Pigeon Forge. We'll check back with you in a couple of minutes.